over 60, if you're starting your morning with eggs, thinking you're doing something good for your health, I need you to stop for just a moment and listen to me, because what I'm about to share might surprise you. There are 3 vegetables, yes, 3 very common ones you probably have in your kitchen right now, that can quietly weaken your muscles when you eat them together with eggs. Now, I know that sounds strange. After all, eggs are considered one of the best sources of protein, right? And vegetables, well, we've been told for decades that vegetables are the cornerstone of good health. So how could combining the healthy foods ever be a bad thing? Here's the truth. When you're over 60, your body doesn't process nutrients the way it used to. What worked fine in your 30s or 40s may no longer serve you well today. And while eggs on their own can be a powerful ally in protecting your muscles against age-related loss, the wrong pairings can interfere with absorption, reduce the benefits of that precious protein, and leave you wondering why your strength just isn't what it used to be. I can't tell you how many patients I've had sitting in my clinic, looking me in the eye and saying, "Doc, I eat healthy. I cook eggs and vegetables every day, but why do I still feel weaker?" And the answer, for many of them, comes down to those 3 vegetables I'm going to reveal in this video. But before we dive into that list, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. If you're a man or woman over 60, chances are you've already noticed it. Climbing stairs feels heavier. Carrying groceries makes your arms ache. Even getting up from a chair sometimes takes a little extra effort. This isn't your imagination. This is something called sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle that comes with aging. And it begins as early as our 40s, accelerating with every decade that follows. By the time most people hit 70, they've lost nearly a quarter of their muscle mass. That's why protein becomes so important. And that's why eggs, with their complete profile of essential amino acids, are such a powerful weapon against this decline. But here's the catch. If you unknowingly combine them with certain vegetables, you block your own progress. You take away the very benefits your body is desperate for. And that's what we're here to uncover today. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 vegetables you should never mix with eggs after the age of 60. Not because those vegetables are bad, but because the interaction weakens your muscle support at a time in your life when you need every ounce of strength. And most importantly, I'll give you safe, delicious alternatives that will actually amplify the power of your breakfast instead of sabotaging it. So if you've ever wondered why your muscles feel weaker, why your recovery is slower, or why eating healthy doesn't seem to be paying off, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what to avoid, but you'll also walk away with a clear path to stronger, healthier mornings, because the truth is simple. Age does not have to mean decline, and breakfast should never be the reason you're losing strength. You know, one of the questions I hear most often from men and women in their 60s and 70s is this: "Doctor, why do I feel weaker even though I'm eating healthy?" And it's a fair question, because you might be doing all the right things, eating eggs for protein, adding vegetables for vitamins and fiber, yet when you stand up in the morning, your legs feel heavy, your back feels stiff, and carrying groceries feels like a workout you never signed up for. The truth is, this isn't just about getting older. What you're experiencing has a name: sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass with age. It's not something you did wrong. It's something all of us face as time goes on. But here's the good news. You can slow it down. You can protect your strength. And one of the simplest tools you already have is eggs. Why eggs? Because they're one of the few foods that contain all 9 essential amino acids, the building blocks of muscle. They're like the bricks and mortar your body needs every single day. Add vitamin D, healthy fats, and choline from the yolk, and you've got a breakfast powerhouse. And this is where most people stumble. The way you combine eggs with other foods can completely change whether your muscles actually benefit. Have you ever thought about that? You could be eating the healthiest looking plate, but if the pairing is wrong, your body can't use the protein properly. Let me give you an example. Think about spinach. So many people pile spinach onto their eggs because it looks fresh, green, and healthy, but spinach is loaded with oxalates. And when oxalates meet the calcium in eggs, they bind together into little crystals your body can't absorb. It's like locking the door on the very nutrients you were hoping to let in. I remember a patient named Thomas, 67 years old. Every morning for years, he had eggs with spinach. He was so proud of his routine. Yeah, and he kept telling me, "Doc, I don't understand. I eat healthy, but my arms feel weaker every time I mow the lawn." When we separated spinach from his egg meal, simply moving it to lunch instead, his energy began to return. Imagine that. The same foods, just timed differently. And the results changed. Now let me ask you, have you been doing the same thing with your breakfast? But spinach isn't the only one. What about tomatoes? They're colorful. They taste amazing with eggs. And let's be honest, who hasn't had scrambled eggs with tomatoes at some point? Here's the issue. Tomatoes are acidic, and when acid mixes with egg protein in your stomach, it slows down digestion. Instead of your muscles getting a steady supply of amino acids, everything bogs down. That's why after a tomato and egg meal, many people feel bloated, sluggish, or even sleepy. I had a patient, Linda, 72, who made eggs with tomatoes almost every evening. She thought it was light, healthy, and easy. But she would wake up each morning with aching knees and a heavy feeling in her legs. After we swapped the tomatoes for bell peppers and leafy greens, she called me with a smile in her voice. "Doctor, I woke up this morning and my legs felt lighter than they have in years." That's how powerful one simple change can be. And then there's cucumber. Now, this one surprises almost everyone, because what could possibly be wrong with cucumber? It's refreshing, it's low calorie, it feels like the definition of clean eating. But cucumbers contain an enzyme called ascorbinase, and this little enzyme destroys vitamin C in other foods. When you mix cucumbers with eggs, it doesn't just reduce vitamin C, it disrupts how your body processes nutrients alongside the egg protein. Picture it like this: you're filling up your car with gas, but there's a small hole in the tank. The fuel pours in, but half of it leaks out onto the ground. The car still runs, but never at its full potential. That's what cucumbers do when paired with eggs. I'll never forget Richard, 70, who loved his cucumber and egg salads. He would eat them faithfully, believing he was building strength. But he always complained, "Doc, no matter how much I walk, I don't feel my muscles getting stronger." When he switched the cucumbers for kale, within a month he felt more energy in his steps. Small change, big impact. Now, I want to pause here and ask you, how many of you eat one of these three combinations? Eggs with spinach, eggs with tomatoes, or eggs with cucumbers? I bet more than a few hands would. Go up right now. So here's the bottom line. These aren't bad vegetables. Spinach, tomato, cucumber, they all have health benefits. But when combined with eggs, especially as you get older, they reduce the very muscle support your body is craving. So the real question becomes, what should you eat with eggs instead? And this is where the fun begins, because the right combinations don't just avoid harm, they amplify the power of eggs. Take bell peppers. Bright red, golden yellow, vibrant green. They're full of vitamin C, which actually helps your body use protein more effectively. Imagine a fluffy omelet with red bell peppers sprinkled throughout. Not only does it look beautiful, but it supercharges your breakfast into something your muscles will thank you for. Or think about kale and broccoli. Unlike spinach, they don't come with a heavy load of oxalates. Instead, they offer antioxidants, vitamin K, and fiber. I've had patients who swap spinach for broccoli in their omelets, and within weeks, they notice more stamina just from walking around the block. Whole grains are another perfect partner. A slice of whole grain toast with your eggs provides slow burning energy. Instead of crashing mid-morning, your muscles and brain get steady fuel. And then there's avocado, creamy, rich, and packed with potassium. Spread it on toast with an egg on top, and you've got a meal that supports your heart, your muscles, and keeps your energy steady throughout the day. Even the little things matter: herbs and spices, parsley, basil, dill. These don't fight. The nutrients in eggs, they actually complement them. And they add flavor that makes breakfast something you want to come back to every day. So you see, the challenge isn't eggs themselves. Eggs are still one of the most complete, affordable, and accessible foods for seniors. The real challenge is in the pairing. Eat them with the wrong partners, and you block the benefits. Eat them with the right partners, and you give your muscles every chance to stay strong. Now let me ask you something important. When you picture yourself 10, 20 years from now, do you want to be the person struggling to get out of a chair, or the person who still joins their grandchildren on a walk without hesitation? That future doesn't start 10 years from now. It starts with the choices you make today. Something as small as what you put on your plate in the morning could be the difference between weakness and vitality, and that's why this matters. In just a moment, I'll bring everything together and leave you with one message, one that may completely change the way you look at breakfast, aging, and your own strength. Stay with me until the end. So, here we are. We've spent the past few minutes talking about something that might seem small, just a single egg at breakfast, and yet, as you've seen, the small things you repeat every day are what decide the strength you'll carry into the years ahead. Eggs remain one of the most powerful foods for anyone over 60. They provide complete protein, essential amino acids, and nutrients your muscles desperately need as you age. But, and this is the part most people never realize, if you combine them with the wrong foods, you can quietly undo those benefits. Spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers. None of these are bad foods. They each have their place. But when you mix them with eggs, especially as your body changes with age, they interfere with the way you absorb protein and key nutrients. And that means your muscles, the very tissue that keeps you moving, climbing stairs, and living independently, aren't getting the fuel they need. The good news is, you don't have to give up eggs. You don't even have to give up those vegetables. You simply have to separate them, or better yet, swap them for combinations that enhance rather than block your strength. Bell peppers, broccoli, whole grains, avocado, even simple herbs like parsley or basil. These foods turn a plate of eggs into a true ally for your muscles. And here's the question I want you to sit with 10 years from now, 20 years from now. How do you want to see yourself? Do you picture yourself struggling to rise from a chair? Or do you picture yourself walking alongside your grandchildren, steady and confident? That future doesn't begin 10 years from now. It begins tomorrow morning with what you put on your plate, with the habits you choose right now. And I want to remind you of something very important. Your age does not define your strength. Your habits do. You are not too late. Every morning you wake up is another chance to start again. Before we close, I'd like to invite you to join me in this conversation. Leave a comment below. Type 1 if you often eat eggs with spinach. Type 2 if you usually eat them with tomatoes. Type 3 if cucumber is your go-to. I'd love to see how many of us have been caught in these hidden habits. And if this message spoke to you, please consider clicking like, sharing this video with a friend or loved one, and subscribing so we can keep walking this journey together. Each week, I'll be here with more senior health advice, practical tips, and encouragement for living stronger, healthier, and with more dignity in your later years. You are not alone in this. Over the past 35 years, I've walked with thousands of patients who thought their strength was gone, only to find it again through simple, daily changes. I believe the same could be true for you. So start small. Start with one egg. Start with tomorrow morning. And remember, age is just a number. But your health, your vitality, that's the true legacy you leave behind for your children and grandchildren.